in the far reaches of the galaxy, in a star system unfamiliar to most, the planet Zorathi orbited its twin suns. Its cities glowed softly under the pink and violet sky, a testament to the advanced civilization that thrived here. The Zorathi, a highly intelligent alien species, were known for their exploration and technological achievements, but they had one flaw. They underestimated the universe's dangers. In the central research hub of Zorathi, a young scientist named Lirith hurried through the maze of labs. Sweat ran down his face as he clutched a small data tablet, the result of an experiment that could change the way their communications worked across galaxies. The experiment was meant to send a simple, encrypted message to a friendly research outpost. But today, fate had other plans. Lirith, his mentor, Elder Thavos, called out from across the lab, "Are you sure this is ready?" Lirith hesitated, glancing at the glowing tablet. I think so, Elder, but the signal might reach farther than we expected." Elder Thavos frowned. "We cannot afford mistakes. This message must reach only our allies, not anyone else." Lirith's hand shook. He activated the transmitter. A soft hum filled the lab. The message shot into hyperspace, leaving behind a trail of light. In that instant, Lirith's stomach dropped. He had made a critical error. The coordinates he entered were wrong. Instead of reaching a friendly outpost, the signal had traveled toward a remote, deadly system, home to the Deathworlders. The Deathworlders were a species shrouded in fear. Legend spoke of their brutal tactics, massive ships, and unstoppable armies. Entire civilizations had fallen when they were summoned, even by accident. Now, unbeknownst to Lirith, his simple error had triggered a chain of events that could doom Zorathi. Across the galaxy, in the shadowed reaches of a dark star system, a massive vessel stirred. The Deathworlder ship, known as the Oblivion's Fong, had received the unexpected SOS. Sensors flickered, reading an incoming distress signal from a planet unfamiliar to them. The ship's command AI, a cold, calculating intelligence, processed a message. There was no doubt. The call came from a civilization in need, and Deathworlders never ignored a distress signal. Back on Zorathi, alarms blared through the city. Lirith stared at the monitor in horror. On the screen, a single red that moved rapidly through space, approaching their planet. Its size and speed defied imagination. Elder Thavos rushed to his side, eyes wide with fear. "What is that?" Lirith whispered, his voice trembling. "They are coming," Elder Thavos replied grimly. "The Deathworlders. And they never come alone." Panic spread through the research hub. Scientists scrambled to secure critical data, while defense systems activated automatically. But Zorathi's defenses were designed for exploration threats, not the annihilation that the Deathworlders represented. In a high tower overlooking the city, the Zorathi Council convened urgently. The chamber was a mix of fear and disbelief. Holographic displays showed the incoming ship, massive and unyielding, cutting through space like a predator. "This is impossible," one council member said. "They cannot reach us in such little time." "They can," Elder Thavos corrected, "and they will, all because of one mistake." His gaze fell on Lirith. "Do you realize what you've done?" Lirith swallowed hard. I didn't mean for this to happen. I miscalculated the coordinates." The council's leader, High Chancellor Vera, slammed her hand on the table. "We are not prepared. Not for this. Our ships, our weapons, they're useless against them. We need a plan, and we need it now." Outside, the skies darkened as the twin sun's light was overshadowed by the massive silhouette of the Oblivion's Fong. Its hull glinted ominously, reflecting the planet's light. Citizens ran through the streets, screaming, as drones and reconnaissance ships from the Deathworlder vessel began to scout Zorathi. Lirith, feeling the weight of his mistake, raced back to the lab. He tapped furiously on his tablet, attempting to send a recall signal, something to warn the Deathworlders away. But the AI's calculations showed that the signal would reach the planet only moments before the Oblivion's Fong's arrival. Too late. As panic gripped the city, Lirith noticed a small blinking light on his console, a trace of another signal. Faint but unmistakable. It was not Zorathi's own technology. Someone or something had detected the SOS. Elder Thavos joined him, peering at the display. "Who or what?" he asked, his voice low. The blinking light pulsed faster. It moved toward the planet with a trajectory unlike anything they had ever seen. Faster, smarter, more precise. Lyritha's heart raced. "They are approaching," he whispered. "But they're not Deathworlders." High above the city, in the council chambers, High Chancellor Vera watched the unfolding scene with growing horror. "If this is a rescue," she said softly, "then it may already be too late." The Deathworlder drones continued their sweep, scanning every corner of Zorathia. Citizens hid wherever they could, knowing the legends of the species' merciless efficiency. And through it all, Lyrith worked tirelessly, his hands flying across controls, trying to devise a way to mitigate the disaster. Suddenly, a loud explosion echoed in the distance. A Deathworlder drone had malfunctioned, its systems unable to adapt to Zorathia's atmospheric interference. The council gasped, but there was no time to celebrate. It was a small victory, almost meaningless against the threat that loomed over the planet. From the edge of the atmosphere, the Oblivion's Fong loomed closer. Its size was incomprehensible. Entire cities could fit inside its hull. And inside, the Deathworlders prepared to deploy their troops, ready to answer the SOS with complete annihilation. Lyrith felt a cold sweat. He realized that every second counted. Every decision could mean the difference between survival and extinction. He tapped into the city's mainframe, attempting to override the transmission, to send a signal that could possibly confuse the Deathworlders. "Do it!" Elder Thavos shouted. "Do whatever it takes." Lyrith hesitated, then pressed the final command. A pulse of energy shot into space, targeting the massive vessel. The screens flickered, displaying the first reaction from the Deathworlders. Their sensors picked up the interference. For a moment, there was silence. Then a deep, resonating sound filled the atmosphere, a signal of recognition from the Oblivion's Fong. It was not a warning, not a question. It was acknowledgement. And acknowledgement meant action. High Chancellor Vera gripped the table, her knuckles white. They have seen it, and now they know we are here. Outside, the citizens of Zorathia could see the shadow of the Deathworlder's ship blurring the twin suns. Panic turned into terror, and for Lyrith, dread became a personal burden. One mistake, one miscalculation, had set in motion a chain of events that could end their world. And in the distance, a faint trace of light, faster than anything the Zorathi had ever seen, approached the planet. A hint that maybe, just maybe, someone else was watching the unfolding disaster. But for now, Zorathia had no time to hope. Only time to survive. The desperate call had been sent, and the consequences were arriving faster than anyone could have imagined. The twin suns of Zorathia barely lit the horizon as the Oblivion's Fong drew closer. Its hull, dark and massive, reflected the light of the stars like a predator stalking prey. Citizens who dared to look up saw a shadow swallow their skies. Panic was everywhere. Markets emptied. Homes were barricaded. Even the usually calm scientists trembled at the scale of what was coming. Lyrith, still in the lab, stared at the monitors. His hands shook as he tried to comprehend the enormity of the ship. It's bigger than I imagined," he whispered. Elder Thavos stood beside him, his eyes scanning the incoming fleet of drones. "They don't just come here to observe," Thavos said grimly. "They come to conquer or destroy." Outside, the first wave of drones entered Zorathia's atmosphere. Their sleek, black forms darted like deadly birds. Each drone scanned cities, forests, and oceans, mapping every structure, every energy source. They were silent hunters, cold and precise. The people ran, but there was nowhere to hide. In the council chamber, High Chancellor Vera stared at the holographic display. Her voice trembled. "We cannot fight them. Our weapons, they will be dust in seconds. We have to find another way." Lyrith, desperate, tapped into the mainframe. "Maybe we can jam their sensors. Make them see something else. Something false." Thavos nodded. "Do it, whatever it takes." A surge of energy pulsed from the lab's transmitter, rippling across the city. For a moment, some drones faltered, their sensors flickering. A small victory, but it was fleeting. The Oblivion's Fong did not slow. Its massive hull cut through space like a blade, approaching at terrifying speed. Then, unexpectedly, something strange happened. From the edge of the planet's atmosphere, a small formation of ships appeared. Sleek, agile, and unlike any Zorathi craft. They moved with precision, faster than anything the Zorathi had seen. Lyritha's eyes widened. "Who are they?" he gasped. Thavo's jaw tightened. "I don't know, but they are not Deathworlders." The mysterious ships engaged the Deathworlder drones. Using tactics that defied logic, they move in ways that the Zorathi had never considered possible. One moment they were here, the next they're striking drones from unexpected angles. Explosions lit the skies. The drones, for the first time, faltered. High Chancellor Vera watched, stunned. They're fighting them? But how? Lyritha's fingers flew across the console. He traced the signal. It's human technology, he whispered. The legends were true. Humans exist out here, and they are terrifying. The Zorathi had heard stories of humans. Ancient legends described them as unpredictable, cunning, and extremely dangerous. But no one had ever witnessed them in action. Now, in the skies above Zorathi, humans demonstrated why the galaxy feared them. The Deathworlder drones retaliated with sheer numbers. For every one destroyed, 2 more replaced it. But the humans, small in number, moved like shadows, striking where it hurt most. Their ships glimmered, using shields and energy pulses that the Zorathi could only barely comprehend. Lyrith and Thavos watched in awe as the humans deployed decoys and traps. A drone chased a human ship, only to crash into a concealed energy field. Another was lured into a canyon and trapped. Every movement was calculated, every strike precise. But the Oblivion's Fong itself loomed above, its size dwarfing the city. From its hull, massive energy weapons charged, capable of leveling entire cities. The humans knew they could not destroy it directly. They had survived long enough for strategy to work. In the council chamber, panic gave way to hope. Vera's voice, steady but cautious, addressed the room. The humans, they may be our only chance. We have to support them in any way we can. Lyrith realized that this was the moment he could redeem himself. He began feeding the humans data from the Zorathi defense systems, weak points, energy nodes, atmospheric interference zones. Every piece of information could help them survive. The Oblivion's Fong responded. Its massive weapons fired, sending a pulse that shook the atmosphere. Buildings trembled. Dust filled the air. Citizens screamed. But the humans moved swiftly, drawing the ship's fire into empty zones, avoiding destruction while countering the drones. One human ship, sleek and dark, darted toward the massive vessel. It released an energy pulse, invisible to the naked eye, which disrupted the ship's shield. Another pulse followed, this time from a different angle. The Oblivion's Fong shuddered. For the first time, the Zorathi realized something incredible. The Deathworlders were not invincible. Lyrith gasped. They can fight it. They can actually fight it. Thavo's eyes gleamed with hope. Not just fight it. Humans might turn the tide. But we must be careful. We cannot underestimate them or the Deathworlders. Outside, the battle intensified. Humans used guerrilla tactics, weaving through the skies like shadows, striking the drones with lightning speed. Explosions lit the horizon. For every Deathworlder drone destroyed, humans took a calculated risk, but none wasted. The Oblivion's Fong roared in response, massive turrets firing indiscriminately. Zorathia's citizens watched from their hiding places, witnessing what they had only heard about in myths. Humans, small and fragile compared to massive Deathworlders, moved with strategy, precision, and courage. Fear turned into astonishment, and astonishment into hope. Lyritha's hands shook as he continued to feed information. If they can keep this up, we may survive. We may actually survive. The humans did not speak to the Zorathi. They did not even acknowledge them. Their actions were enough. Every move, every strike, was a message. The humans were here, and they were unstoppable in ways no one had imagined. High above the city, the Oblivion's Fong began deploying larger weapons. Massive strike drones meant to crush resistance. But the humans anticipated it. They lured the strike drones into energy traps, using the planet's magnetic storms to their advantage. The skies were a chaotic ballet of light, shadow, and destruction. Even as destruction rained down, a pattern emerged. Humans exploited every weakness, no matter how small. They were unpredictable, clever, and merciless in efficiency. For the first time, the Deathworlders faced a force that challenged their supremacy. In the council chamber, Vera whispered, almost to herself, "If we survive this, the galaxy will never forget them." The sun dipped below the horizon, but the battle raged on. The citizens of Zorathi, trembling with fear and awe, realized that they were witnessing history. And for Lirith, hope sparked in the midst of despair. But even as humans turned the tide against the drones, the Oblivion's Fong loomed above, untouched and massive, preparing for the next phase. The battle had begun, but the war was far from over. And somewhere in the darkness of space, a faint echo of recognition passed through the Deathworlder's ship. They had underestimated humans once. They would not make that mistake again. Zorathi held its breath. The humans fought silently, unseen but undeniable, leaving a trail of hope and fear in equal measure. And as the planet watched, the impossible became real. Tiny ships, mere fractions of the Deathworlders' might, turned the galaxy's deadliest species into something uncertain. The desperate call had led to an unexpected answer. But the real challenge, the full force of the Oblivion's Fong, was still to come. The skies over Zorathi were still aflame from the previous skirmish. The Oblivion's Fong had not slowed. Its massive shadow loomed over cities and mountains alike, a grim reminder of what awaited below. But the humans, strange, small, and unpredictable, had changed everything. Their tactics had halted the Deathworlder drones, and now the planet watched in awe and fear. Lyra stood at the observation deck of the research hub, his tablet flickering with data. His hands trembled, but this time not from fear. It was excitement, disbelief, and hope all at once. They are doing things we never imagined, he whispered to Elder Thavos. Thavos nodded, eyes narrowed at the holographic display. Humans are not like any species we know. They are dangerous in ways the galaxy fears. Below, in the city streets, citizens peeked from behind barricades. Explosions from the battle lit the horizon like fireworks, yet these were not celebratory. Drones fell from the skies, but human ships darted and struck with precision, vanishing before the Deathworlders could respond. Each strike left the aliens in shock. In orbit above the planet, the humans moved like shadows. Their ships were small but fast, weaving between massive drones, striking weak points, and using the planet's atmosphere to their advantage. Every move was calculated, but also unpredictable. The Zorathi had never seen such tactics. Strategic, clever, and yet almost reckless in their bravery. The Oblivion's Fong fired its massive weapons, sending beams that could annihilate entire city blocks. Humans did not fight head-on. They used misdirection, creating holographic decoys, and leading the massive beams into empty valleys and oceans. Zorathi scientists watched, stunned. Every attack that would have been catastrophic was avoided, as if the humans were thinking several steps ahead of the enemy. Lirith tapped into the human fleet's signal traces. His eyes widened. They are communicating silently. No words, no broadcasts. They know exactly what each other is doing. Thavos nodded. Their coordination is beyond anything we imagined. Humans are legends. Perhaps the stories were true. Meanwhile, on the planet's surface, Deathworlder drones landed to assess damage. Massive and menacing, they stalked the streets, scanning for survivors. Citizens hid, trembling at the monstrous machines. Yet, humans did not engage directly. They struck only where it mattered, leaving destruction minimal but maximum in effect. A small human ship approached a massive energy tower that powered one of the drones. With a single pulse, it disabled the tower. The drone fell silent, its systems shutting down. Another human ship appeared from the opposite direction, creating confusion. Drones attacked, but each strike was a trap. The humans lured them into the planet's magnetic storms, which interfered with their systems. High Chancellor Vera watched from the council chamber, her eyes wide. They are not fighting for us, she said softly, but they are saving us. Lirith realized that the humans' interference was precise. They were not trying to conquer, negotiate, or even communicate. They were ensuring survival, not for friendship, not for politics, but because the Deathworlders were a threat to the galaxy. And in doing so, humans reminded the Zorathi why they were feared. Across the battlefield, the Oblivion's Fong shifted, deploying larger strike drones. Each was massive, enough to crush a city armed with energy weapons far beyond Zorathia's defense capabilities. Humans anticipated this. Small ships darted in and out, triggering decoys and electronic interference. The large drones, blinded and misled, fell into planetary hazards, crashing into mountains or being caught in sudden energy pulses. Lyrith tapped furiously at the console. If they can keep this up, maybe we can survive. Maybe. His voice faltered as a new alarm sounded. A second fleet of Deathworlder reinforcements appeared at the edge of space. Even larger than the first, their ships cut through hyperspace, converging towards Zorathia. The humans did not panic. Instead, they adapted. Ships split into smaller units, flanking the massive vessels, targeting weak points in engines and shields. Explosions erupted in rapid succession. "Look at them," Thavos said, voice low. "Every attack is calculated. Every move, genius. They are not invincible, but nothing can match their mind for strategy." From orbit, Lyrith noticed something extraordinary. Humans were using the Zorathia defense systems in ways the Zorathi had never thought possible. Power nodes, energy fields, and even atmospheric interference were being manipulated to their advantage. Drones fell one by one, systems disabled, weapons jammed. The humans turned Zorathia itself into a weapon without harming the planet. In the skies above, the Oblivion's Fong roared. Massive energy cannons fired indiscriminately, but humans continued to evade and strike. One ship flew straight into the path of a massive beam, releasing a decoy, then vanishing moments later. The beam struck empty space, creating a massive explosion that shook the planet's surface. The Council watched in disbelief. "We underestimated humans," Vera said. "All this time, and we never knew the truth." On the ground, Zorathia's citizens dared to step outside briefly, watching the human strike with unmatched precision. The legends were real. Humans, small and fragile by size, could challenge even the galaxy's deadliest species. Fear mixed with awe in the eyes of every Zorathi who watched. But even as the humans fought brilliantly, the Oblivion's Fong remained. Its massive hull, nearly indestructible, loomed over the planet. Deathworlder reinforcements continued to pour in. The humans' brilliance could only do so much against sheer size and numbers. A human ship appeared near the planet's main orbital defense grid. With a precise strike, it disabled one of the largest cannons on the Oblivion's Fong. The massive ship shuddered, and for the first time, there was hesitation. Lyrith gasped. They actually did it. They damaged it." Thavos nodded, a grim smile on his face. "Yes, but the battle is far from over. The Oblivion's Fong is massive, and it's only beginning to fight back." From the shadows of space, humans continued to maneuver, striking weak points and creating confusion. For the Zorathi, it was the first real glimpse of human ingenuity. They saw strategy, precision, and unpredictability, qualities that no technology or size could match. High Chancellor Vera turned to the Council. "We have witnessed something the galaxy will speak of for centuries. Humans, they are unstoppable in ways we cannot even imagine. If they choose to protect us, we may survive this. If not," her voice trailed off, the unspoken threat clear. The battle raged into the night, explosions lighting the horizon like a deadly aurora. Humans struck, retreated, and struck again. Every Deathworlder drone that fell was a testament to their cunning and courage. But the Oblivion's Fong loomed above, massive and patient. Its crew analyzed, adapted, and prepared for the humans' next move. The war was far from over. And somewhere, high above the planet, Lyrith realized the truth. Survival depended not just on courage, not just on strategy, but on the human's ability to outthink an unstoppable enemy. The desperate call had led to an unexpected intervention. Humans were here. They were fighting the galaxy's deadliest species. And the legend of humanity, the unpredictable, unstoppable force, was alive before the eyes of Zorathia. The planet held its breath. The humans had turned the impossible into reality, but the Oblivion's Fong still loomed. And the next move would decide the fate of Zorathi and perhaps the galaxy itself. The horizon of Zorathi burned with light and fire. The Oblivion's Fong hung in orbit, like a black god of war, its massive frame dwarfing the planet below. Deathworlder reinforcements continued to arrive, each larger and more terrifying than the last. Yet humans remained in the skies, small shadows weaving between the massive threats, their movement precise and unpredictable. Lyra stood at the command console, sweat dripping from his brow. They've done the impossible so far. But can they finish it? He whispered to Elder Thavos. Thavos' gaze did not leave the holographic display. Humans are not just fighting. They are thinking 10 steps ahead. The Deathworlders may be powerful, but humans, they are clever beyond comprehension. Above the planet, human ships moved in perfect formation, baiting the Deathworlder drones into traps. Explosions erupted in succession. Massive drones were lured into magnetic storms, energy fields, and hidden planetary hazards. The humans struck with precision, avoiding the collateral damage that would have destroyed entire cities. But the Oblivion's Fong was different. Its massive weapons powered up, beams glowing like molten steel. It fired indiscriminately, flattening mountains and obliterating forests. Humans did not panic. They split into smaller units, flanking the massive vessel, targeting critical points in the hull. Energy pulses, carefully calculated, hit weak spots, causing sparks and shudders across the ship. Zorathi's council watched, awestruck. Citizens peered from hiding places, unable to believe their eyes. Humans, small in number, were fighting what seemed impossible. One human ship, sleek and dark, moved directly toward the main energy core of the Oblivion's Fong. Drones swarmed around it, but the ship released an electronic pulse that disabled them instantly. A secondary pulse hit the ship's core, causing internal disruptions. Alarms rang through the massive Deathworlder vessel. It had never faced such cunning before. High Chancellor Vera whispered, almost to herself, They are rewriting the rules of battle. Lyrith tapped into his console furiously, sending updated planetary data to the human fleet. If they can strike the core, we may survive. Thavos nodded, but it will require every ounce of human cunning. They cannot fail. The human ships danced around a massive hull, striking weak points, then vanishing into the shadows of space. Every hit was precise. Every move was calculated. It was not brute force that defeated the Deathworlders. It was intelligence, strategy, and courage. The Oblivion's Fawn began deploying its last line of defense. Massive boarding pods designed to land and conquer. Humans anticipated it. They had already positioned traps in the atmosphere. As pods descended, energy fields activated, intercepting the ships. One by one, they were destroyed before reaching the surface. On the planet, Zorathi's citizens watched in awe. Humans were not just fighters. They were masters of war, turning even environment into an ally. Panic gave way to hope. For the first time, the legend of humanity, the unstoppable force, was real, and the Zorathi were witnessing it firsthand. From orbit, the human fleet initiated the final phase. Ships converged on the massive Oblivion's Fong, striking multiple critical points simultaneously. Energy pulses, magnetic disruptions, and perfectly timed maneuvers caused massive structural damage. The ship shuddered violently. Its hull cracked, and sections began to fail. Lyritha's eyes widened. They're doing it. They can actually destroy it. Thavos placed a hand on his shoulder. Not destroy it, but neutralize it. They are not reckless. They will leave no survivors. Only a lesson. Inside the Oblivion's Fong, the Deathworlder Command AI struggled to adapt. Humans had exploited every weakness, predicted every countermeasure, and avoided every trap. Panic, a concept unknown to the Deathworlders, began to spread among their crew. In the skies, human ships executed a final sequence. They created massive decoy formations, drawing the ship's fire away from the real strike units. Then, with perfect timing, the humans targeted the energy core, sending a concentrated pulse directly into the ship's heart. A blinding explosion rippled through space. Sections of the Oblivion's Fong tore apart, drifting into the void. The remaining drones, leaderless and confused, were swiftly neutralized by human tactics. In a matter of hours, the once invincible Deathworlder vessel was crippled, The humans hovered in orbit for a moment, ensuring no further threats remained, then disappeared silently into the darkness of space. On Zorathi, silence fell. Citizens stepped out of hiding, their eyes wide with disbelief and gratitude. The legend had been true. Humans were real, and they were unstoppable. High Chancellor Vera addressed the council and citizens alike. We have witnessed history. Humans, they are unlike anything we imagined. They are not only powerful, but they are intelligent, strategic, and extraordinary. Today, we owe them our lives. Lyrith collapsed into his chair, exhaustion and relief washing over him. We survived because of them, because of humans. Thavos smiled, a rare moment of pride crossing his face. And now the galaxy knows. The Deathworlders may have feared nothing else, but humans are unpredictable, and that unpredictability is their strength. As the planet slowly recovered from the battle, whispers spread across Zorathi. Tales of humans' cunning, bravery, and sheer intelligence circulated from city to city, preparing the Zorathi for a new reality. Somewhere in the far reaches of space, the humans observed quietly. They had intervened, fought, and disappeared as quietly as they had arrived. Legends of humanity, fearless, brilliant, unstoppable, would continue to grow across the galaxy. For Zorathi, life would never be the same. The Deathworlders had been challenged and their arrogance shattered. And the humans, in a single battle, had reminded the galaxy why they were feared and respected. Lyra stood on the observation deck once more, staring into the black void where the humans had vanished. They came, they fought, and they left. But we will never forget them. Thavos joined him. No civilization will. Today, we learn the truth the galaxy has whispered for centuries. Humans are the most dangerous and brilliant species of all, and if they choose to act, no force can stand against them. The suns rose over Zorathi, casting a warm glow over a planet forever changed. The battle was over, but the legend of humanity, the unstoppable force, was only beginning, and in the minds of every Zorathi who had witnessed the battle, a new hope grew. If humans could face the galaxy's deadliest species and win, perhaps nothing was impossible. The desperate call had been answered, and in doing so, it had revealed a power, a strategy, and a species that would shape the galaxy's future forever. The legend of humans, the unpredictable, unstoppable force, was alive, and nothing would ever be the same again.